Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, where we have a brick and mortar shop in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm so excited today just to bring you some old coins and have fun. Today we're going to focus a little bit on some 8 reals, and always a very popular series of coins. Just take a closer look at what's going on with a few here, and talk about grading, condition, what in the world are all these pock marks? Is it better to get one with no pock marks than others? Some of these are coins that maybe you're new to and you haven't experienced before. So let's just take a closer look at some coins and decide kind of what you like and what you don't like. So first up, the 1783. And we've got Senor Carlos III here. And this is the type of coin you'll see a lot from shipwrecks, and sometimes they'll be from shipwrecks and they won't actually have any type of certificate with them. But usually you can tell shipwreck coins because they will have some type of water damage to them. And by water damage, usually you'll have like parts of the field will have a little bit of corrosion. Now we're going to look at coins today that all look kind of similar, but they're actually were minted in different places in different countries, but really one country. You've got the MO, that's the Mexico City Mint, but all of these guys were minted for Spain. There's the Hispana et Ind Rex. And so you'll see these coins, even though they are from places that we'd all consider to be different countries today, the different locations, they had one head at the time. So 1783, let's see if I got some more 1700s. We'll go somewhat chronologically here on these guys. 1798 is next, and you have Carlos IV de Gratia, 1798. Very similar looking portrait. You know, Carlos III had the kind of like bigger looking neck in a lot of his profiles, if you will. Also, that front shoulder is kind of like leaning like in forward of the body, the way it's designed, where the shoulder is actually kind of behind here instead of in front of here. So think of it that way. If you just see the outline and you think they're the same, you know, they look very different and very same. I get it. And then of course the reverse here is going to look the same. Even upside down, they look the same. And this one's also from the Mexico City Mint, but we're going to look at all these little pock marks on here, which are some of my favorite things here, Mexico City Mint. These different types of Chinese chop marks that are on coins I find to be really kind of a fascinating area. And if you want to go down the collecting rabbit hole, you can really look long, hard, and deep into the different types of counter stamps and Chinese chop marks that are on coins. This one doesn't have a whole lot of them. This coin is pretty heavily worn. Let me bring back the previous coin so we can talk a little bit about overall grade. You know, this coin here on the right has been cleaned, but you know, it's the type of cleaning where probably someone took you know, a water and cloth and rubbed it down a little bit to get dirt off of it. You can see areas where the light dances kind of unnaturally, but also it has almost a touch of luster to it. It's a coin that's probably like an AU50 type coin. This coin here on the left, you know, you're talking about a coin that's just going to be in very good defined condition. A lot more wear to it, but you know, you have to understand the primacy of the coin, what it looked like ahead of time before you can grade it. And that's where it gets super stinking tricky, because if I do these chronologically, I'm going to have to grab this coin next. And this coin is like super deceptive because you can see that you can't see the date. And by that, I mean, of course, the date's so thin on here. This 1806 issue coin, you know, the date's almost completely gone. And this one also is from the Mexico City Mint. And once again, the edge of the coin is almost completely gone. That planchet cracking, when I say planchet, I mean the piece of metal the coin was struck on, is actually from when the coin was made, or the die was made, pardon me, the planchet was made. And then as the coin gets struck, it just kind of forces it out. Think of if you've worked with Play-Doh before and you smooth something out nice, but then if you re-smooth it out a couple times, you get that cracking effect. So that's right. So all those years of playing with Play-Doh really helped out. Eating the Play-Doh didn't help much. So this guy here, you'll see almost no signs of any type of date on the bottom, and yet this coin is the highest grade coin in the group with actually very natural original luster back in some of the areas up in here where it's protected by the devices. So when you see the light get brighter up in there, that's actually a nice original luster. It's the type of coin where if all the coins are just kind of flat and you were glancing at them, some of the things you would notice first is the dates popping up on these guys. So you might pass over this one, but really that coin actually is a nicer AU coin, and it just happens to have very flat strikes in different areas. But then you can see on the back luster filling up a large proportion of this area here, especially near the devices. The devices are the design area. The devices will oftentimes protect parts of the coin from wear, and that's why you usually see luster in the devices. And then, of course, the flat areas, they get worn and wear faster. So anyways, that's a really cool coin. Most of these coins are going to be probably in the $100 to $300 range. Some of them might be a little bit less. 1806, speaking of not being able to see dates, I think we got an 1807 here next. And this one has a lot of fun chop marks on it. And some of my favorite chop marks are, there's a little sunburst on there. But there's some that almost have a bigger stamp that had a design inside of it. You can't make out the design on that one. But I think on a couple of these we may be able to make them out a little bit. 1807, also Mexico City. So far mostly Mexico, but we've got a few other areas to look at. And what people don't often think about is, when you think about pirate treasure and sunken coins, you think about most of these coins getting shipped, from South America. And yet here we've got quite a few coins that were made at the Mexico City Mint that went over into Asia. Asia was an area that was very much so devoid of any natural silver, but people loved their silk, of course, and their porcelain. And so it was a very common trade to have ships going over there with loads of silver and have, linens, silks, and other material goods coming back. And not to mention some of the spices and things as well. So we move it into Ferdinand VII over here in this 1809. I think that's a 9 down here. Speaking of being able to see things clearly. And this has some of those cool chop marks on them that is almost like what we would call a counter stamp, where it has a design on it. Now, of course, chop marks really are in a way, they're not really a counter stamp. A counter stamp oftentimes is used a little bit more for either advertising or for redenominating the coin. Most Chinese chop marks were put out by individuals or areas saying, hey, this is silver, it's good, you can use it here. And we got, is this guy also Mexico? Well, maybe. The O should be above the M over there. Yeah, it's Mexico. What's fun about this is some people took this time to really put the chop marks right up the pillar here, so it looks like it has words on it, on that guy. Overall, a really cool looking piece. Once again, well worn, something that's just going to be like a fine grade coin. 1809, let's go to 1811 next. Another Ferdinand VII here. Coin pretty beat up, a little too bright. You're going to see lots of these coins, either they were dirty and so they get cleaned a little bit, and you can see most of these coins are cleaned in some way or another. So it's almost just a matter of how cleaned are they, because as much as we like to think about coins in the coin grading market, in the US coin market, people think about can't be cleaned, can't be cleaned, can't be cleaned, but really there's a whole dearth of a market where you've got coins that if they're not cleaned, instead of looking at clean coins as being negative, they look at not clean coins as being extra money, like just a positive thing. So sometimes it's not just a matter of like if they were clean or not, it's just how clean they were. The coin on the left here probably had a similar amount of dirt on it as the coin on the right did, and someone just took the time to try to rub all that dirt off. You know, and some people have a preference for it this way. There's actually old coin books that you can find that teach you how to clean coins, and a lot of that's been very detrimental to the coins over the years. You know, if they were cleaned in the way that they were recommended. There's actually one, you know, coin cleaning kit that I've seen from the 1950s that included a wire brush. So, hopefully you don't run into too much of that. 1819, we took a little trip down the mighty Mississippi. I don't think that's the right year for that song. Finally, we get a mint mark here from South America. That is the ME. There's actually a lot more there than the ME, but that's Lima, Peru. A country that's not on my list, but on my list of places to go. I joke that I don't actually have a list, but Peru's on it. And very cool, different mint mark on there. Also a very nice coin, the coin that, you know, you see a lot of flatness in the coin, but then you see luster. So that actually is luster hidden in there in the devices, kind of flat over the center, but that is how the coin was struck. I always like to look and see some of the higher areas on the coin to see kind of what it looks like the coin may have looked like before it got struck. And occasionally you'll see coins of this time period struck over struck coins. So sometimes as you look at coins, you'll start to see some design underneath them. I'm only pointing that out because I just saw something that looked like that, but I don't think that it is. I'm not seeing anything else to indicate it on this coin here. So a nicer coin, once again, if you just go by the flatness over the face, you'd think it's kind of just a fine, but there's luster on the coin, so it's probably more of a VF35 type coin. Pushing XF40 on that guy. 1820, here's another Ferdinand VII. You see some of the differences with the strike, and they had the different designs on the edge of these coins, which I can't believe I haven't really focused on the third side of the coin. These were designs to stop people from shaving silver off of the coins, and so it was a security device. Very cool piece, but you can see also it went all the way to the edge, and yet part of the Ferdinand is off the edge. So once again, you had some striking issues on some of these coins, and these two coins are 1 year apart, and yet you can see just how different the actual physical coin is one from another. Ferdinand's, look how close the 7 is to his head, you know, on this coin versus this one. And so very cool piece. 1820, 1819, we had this one's Lima, Peru. This one is also Lima, Peru. You know, I was talking previously about possible shipwreck coins. This one possibly came up from a shipwreck. It has a little bit of luster underneath all of the gunk going on there, but it has a lot of like this patch of kind of corrosion or damage to it right in the center there. So, and that's a little bit of an indicator of something that possibly was a shipwreck coin. Very cool. And last but not least, this Ferdinand VII, this holy coin. This one is from Bolivia. That's the Potosi mint. This is one of my favorite mint marks. And so very cool mint mark on that. Once again, you do think of both Peru and Bolivia as countries that were largely just taken over for their silver and some gold, but their silver mines. A ton of this stuff was shipped over into Asia, but then of course a ton of this stuff was shipped back to the crown. And you talk about the crown, I mean, just the aesthetic of these coins, you know, there's no doubt that the crown is in charge. Look how big the crown is on that, taking up the top, you know, 1/4 of the coin there. Just kind of fun piece. But there's a huge amount of ways to collect these coins by varieties, sub-varieties, countries, mint marks. But if you just want an example or two, they're always cool to just look on eBay. You can oftentimes, if you just search 8 real, you'll find stuff popping up. The only caveat to that is there's a ton of like the stupid Chinese counterfeits. So if someone has it priced for like $3.50 plus shipping, don't buy it. It's not real. But there's a lot of this type of stuff out there that you can look at and see, and it'll be relatively inexpensive. You know, you can get low grade pieces sometimes for like $20 to $50, and higher grade pieces can be a lot more expensive. And then sometimes when they have a lot more character to them, like these ones with kind of really cool counter stamps to them, sometimes guys will bid extra on those in an auction format. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.